So now the question Gary came to was, okay, well, what if you're licensed and now you're doing a wholesale deal? Is there an issue there? And what's the number one rule when you're licensed, no matter what you do? Well, you got to, go through your broker, but there's one disclosure. Disclosure. That's the number one way you can get in trouble if you're licensed is non-disclosure. Meaning what? What does that mean, disclosure, if you're licensed?
They need to know you're licensed.
Everybody you deal with needs to know you're licensed. And why does the licensing law require that?
So that people know if you're going to be taken advantage of or not.
Because you're held to a higher standard, and the public needs to know that you are held to that standard.
So when we call on an ad for a house, we have to let them know right up.
Everything you do is disclosure, and you don't have to make a big issue out of it. But if you're doing direct mail, what had your letter better say if you're saying you're the buyer? What did you better have? Buyer is a licensed agent. Yeah, I had a buddy who did mailings, and his mailing happened to land on a real estate agent's doorstep. That real estate agent knew that person was licensed. The letter did not have disclosure. He got reported to the state and got fined for sending out a letter and not disclosing that he was licensed.
Not very nice.
No, it's not very nice, but real estate agents aren't real fond of investors out there doing transactions. Some aren't. I mean, if you're a real estate agent and you're a retail agent, you can fight the system or work with the system, right? And the smart agents go to investors and say, how can I help you in your business? Rather than, fight against it, because you're not stopping it, it's happening, right? You can either be part of the process or not part of the process is kind of how I look at it. And I'm a licensed broker, so I sometimes speak very negatively about real estate agents because of that mindset a lot of them have, but I feel like I can because I'm licensed myself, so I understand, what they go through and kind of some of those challenges. My personal belief, by the way, is that real estate agency is going to get turned on its head in the next, I say, 3 to 5 years because of just the speed of the internet. Right? So it used to be if you're an agent and you have a buyer looking to buy a property, they would go to the agent and they would say, hey, I want to buy. The agent would say, okay, here's a list of properties that fit your criteria. Let's go look at some houses. Now how does it work?
They find the house and say,
That's right.
But I want to get inside.
They go to the agent and say, these are the ones I want to go look at. Because what did they do beforehand? They went online and they found what they are interested in. Completely changing the way real estate has worked. I mean,
it's like Uber and Airbnb.
Right. And so, but agents, right now, real estate agencies, they're not adapting. They're fighting that. They're trying to monopolize. And, the Association of Realtors is constantly in a lawsuit with Realtor.com, Zillow, Trulia. Why? What's their beef with them?
They're cutting into their commissions.
They want that information to be proprietary to just the MLS because it's getting harder and harder for them to justify the fees when all that information is easily accessible. I mean, if a homeowner knew really how easy it was to do a transaction, like they don't know, they think there's a lot that goes into it. There's not a lot that goes into it. Purchase agreement, lead-based paint disclosure, seller disclosure, title work, you know what I mean? Like after we've done it 4 or 5 times, you're like, really, that's it? And I'm paying 6%? Right? And let's look at the list side, the 3% on the list side. Are you kidding me? You're putting it on the MLS with pictures and a description, and then you're answering the phone for someone else to show it and sell it, and you get 3%? For what? 20 minutes of work, or whatever? So it's getting turned on its head, and you're seeing now a lot of these flat fee services. That's another thing. A lot. What's that?
Foamy's huge.
Oh yeah, in Michigan, where I have my broker's license, they recently had a lawsuit with the MLS board there because they were trying to ban flat fee listings from happening on their MLS. They wanted to stop all brokers from doing any kind of flat fee service. And their argument was those flat fee services are hurting the consumer because they're not getting any service. It's just getting a posting thing. And so that's not in the best interest of the consumer, was their argument. And so they went to court over it and lost because you cannot govern the fee structure for real estate agency, right? It's whatever I negotiate with you. How can and this happens all the time, but how can the government mandate what should and shouldn't be the fees? right? Which is cool to see that lost, because I agree. Why should there be regulation on what they charge? If you want to charge me $500 and you're happy with that fee and I'm happy with the service I'm getting, we should be allowed to do that. Don't you agree? Okay, so, but they don't like that because now they're not getting that fixed 3% or whatever. So you're seeing a lot of this going on in the licensing world. And this is all important for us as investors. First of all, I think you guys all know my position. I believe if you're going to be serious about investing and active in your market, my belief is get your license. Not to be a real estate agent, but for why? To assist you in how? In investing. Yeah, all the benefits for investing. Setting up your own showings. You can get in properties now without having an agent there, right? You can do comps. You can get access to public record. The nominal fees you pay to have your license strictly for investing, to me, is worth it. If you're serious. Now, you can do it without it. You can get around that. But I'm just a big believer in it, because now you don't need anybody else to get access to the information on the MLS. But honestly, I can almost do on Zillow what I can do on the MLS. Not quite. I mean, I don't get access to public record, and MLS has a little bit more accurate information. But it's getting tighter and tighter, the spread between Zillow, Trulia. Some states I really like Redfin. Redfin's not, I don't think that great. Oh, is it in you? Is it? They're not in all 50 states. But Redfin, as far as a tool for comping, is really cool. They have an export feature where you can export comps right into an Excel spreadsheet on Redfin, which is really cool, because then you can run your numbers more methodically or more mechanically, right, mathematically. So I like that. But anyway, that's kind of where that's at. But so those are kind of some of those things. So if you're licensed, you can still wholesale if you're licensed. You don't have to be on the transaction. You don't have to be the buyer's agent or listing agent. Just treat it the same way you would do an assignment, but everything you do disclosure. You can't have a for sale by owner sign in a yard without disclosure. You can't send letters without disclosure. You can't call leads without disclosure if you're licensed. When I buy a property, in my contract it says buyer is a licensed agent. When I sell, it says seller is a licensed agent. I just add that comment in the little section there, and I'm done. I've disclosed.
I think in Utah you have to disclose your brokerage too.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I doubt anyone's going to have an issue if you didn't disclose your brokerage, because you still disclosed. But yeah, find out, if you're in Utah, find out what the requirement is for disclosure. And that's really the only thing that you have to do differently if you're licensed and doing investing, doing deals, just that disclosure. Yeah. Now, your broker may have an issue if you're not, if you're not acting as a buyer's agent or a listing agent, because how does a broker get paid? A percentage of your commission. So if you're out there doing investing and you're not bringing in any commission sales to your broker, is he going to be thrilled to have you on his brokerage team? No. That's why I think through Strong Broker or Limitless, they have a brokerage thing, right? Yeah. So something where they're investor friendly, someone who's a broker who's investor friendly, is where you want to hang your license. But the Century 21s and the Remaxes and the Keller Williams, they're not going to want you on their team, because now you're just a liability. You're not bringing in any money, and you're out there doing who knows what, right? So a broker's not going to be thrilled about that. So you have to find a broker that's going to be understanding of what you're doing. Say, hey, I'm buying and selling, but I'm not using my license as an agent. Are you cool with that? And so what I do with my brokerage, because I have a brokerage in Michigan, is I have investors, and I just charge them a per transaction fee of a couple $100. That's it. No split, go do whatever you want, but every deal you buy and sell, since I am letting you hang your license with me, I think it's $250 or something. So it's kind of cool. My brokerage makes like 20 grand a year, and by the way, my deal with them is keep your nose clean, don't be doing anything stupid, but don't bother me, right? I'm not gonna provide you an office and letterhead, you figure all that out. And really today, do you need an office? Like these brokerages that are like, oh, and you can use our office. Yeah, thanks, I have a home office. I don't need your office. I can meet a client at Starbucks, right? I mean, so these brokerages are having a harder and harder time too attracting agents, and the fees are getting tighter and tighter and tighter. I don't know why a broker would want to be a broker. That's a tough business to make money in. So does that answer anybody's questions?
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for taking that much time, by the way.
Okay, cool, good.